Alrighty guys, hello and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're going to be, well, playing some Honkai 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝘿. I did happen to get into the beta, so we are going to be finally doing some video content on the game. I've been kind of putting it off because I've just been kind of playing the game and seeing how much I can progress for the game. But in today's video, I'm going to give you guys my early first impressions of the game, essentially my early first thoughts on the game, whether I think it's worth playing, and whether I think you guys should pick up this game eventually when it launches. If you want the short answer, the spoiler answer, yes, I think you guys should definitely play this, especially if you love turn-based strategy games, and especially if you like Genshin Impact, you're going to love this game. Alrighty, so this is essentially the game world. This is one of the first cities that you'll essentially visit in the game. Now, first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to go check out some combat, so we're going to do that straight away first. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to jump into one of the weekly game modes, being the simulated universe. If you haven't played Genshin Impact, if you have played Genshin Impact, this is effectively just the Spiral Abyss equivalent. It works a little bit differently, but this is the same kind of thing. Basically, every single week you'll log in and you'll get essentially a pool of rewards, and you'll get points per stage that you complete. So let's jump into the world 1. I've already claimed the first time claim rewards, but we're going to jump into this and have a bit of fun. So I'm going to bring in my usual team that I use for this one, and we're just going to jump in. I'm going to show you the combat. I'm pretty over leveled for this one, so do keep that in mind, but I also can't clear the next stage just quite yet. So anyways, let's kind of showcase this. So you'll essentially be put into a stage, and you can come in here and we can do some combat. So let's hit this guy right here. So I'm going to show you guys how the combat essentially works. So basically, this fight is going to go really, really quickly. I'm going to turn off the 2x speed, but essentially you have your different enemies here. As you can see above their health bars, you have weaknesses, essentially. So this one's a physical weakness and electric weakness. And essentially the way this works, you'll see they have a red health bar, which is their health bar, and then a white bar. This is their break bar. So if you get the break bar down to 0, they get stunned for a turn. So for example, if we wanted to, let's just like hit some of them, because I can't show you quite yet, because I need to get one of the elements that actually works on them. Which unfortunately, just give me a sec. So for example, this character here, which is one of the two main character genders you can select the female or a male. This is the main character, essentially, that'll be your character. Now this, as you can see, it's pulsing here. This shows that I have, this character can deal weakness damage to this person, this enemy character. And as you can see, it's physical damage. So if I hit him with a single target thing, it's going to break him, and it insta-killed him. But with more tougher enemies, it'll basically put him into a stunned state where you can effectively deal damage to them and they can't hit you back, which I think is really, really cool. It adds a bit of strategy to the game and makes bringing in different team comps very, very useful. And you will counter a wide variety of enemies with very variety of different weaknesses. It's actually very similar to like a Pokemon weakness system, or if you've played like Persona games, it works kind of like that too. So as you can see, this one here has a wind weakness, so I can pop a single target damage thing here. This is probably going to insta-kill him. Yeah. But that's the kind of the way the combat kind of works. And now I'll explain these skills next. Now, ignore what I'm essentially doing here. If you've played Spiral Abyss and Genshin Impact, you'll know what this kind of is. Basically, in between the different stages of this, you basically select buffs and you get stronger as you kind of go on. And it's like a challenge kind of mode. If you've played Spiral Abyss and Genshin, you'll know what this is. If you haven't, don't worry about it. Don't pay attention to that. That's not a normal combat thing. So every single character has a Q and an E, which is basically their basic attack, and a special attack skill. Special attack skills here, so your E requires a consumption of one of these points down here, which you cannot see because I'm covering it, sorry. Let me just hide myself for a second. So let me explain that again. Every single character has their basic attack, which is a Q, and a special skill, which is an E. An E skill, or a special skill, consumes one of these points down here. You build up these points by using a basic attack. So for example, I'll show you. Let's use a basic attack here, and as you can see, I got 4 points now to use. Every single special skill consumes 1 point.
Stay right there while I give you a present.
So it's a resource that you essentially constantly have to be managing during your game. Now, in addition to that, there are different types of skills. For example, here you can see this skill is a single target, but this skill is a bounce skill. And what a bounce skill is, it's an AoE skill that moves from one enemy to the next, and it can like multi-hit bounce between enemies, as you're going to see right now. As you can see, it kind of bounces between the two of them. Then you have blast skills. Now, I can't really showcase it properly here because we only have one enemy, but blast skills are essentially your AoE skills. They'll hit multiple enemies at once. Okay, so we've got a bit of a tougher enemy here to kind of display these skills on. Now, In addition to every single character having a basic attack and a special skill, every single character also has an ultimate skill. As you can see here, I've charged up this ultimate bar, and the way you charge up the ultimate bar is by hitting people with your skills, basically. Or getting hit, I believe, too. Now, once you get this special ultimate skill essentially charged up, you can use it. And the great thing about this is you can use it at any point during the turn order. So say, for example, I'm on March 7th right now. I can use this character's ultimate skill, whenever I want. I can even use it during the enemy turn, before or after they go. I can't use it if they start doing their skill, but I can even use it during the enemy turn, which I think is actually a really, really good feature. It's kind of fun to be able to like interrupt their skills, and it puts a lot of strategy into the game. As you can see, the ultimate skills are very, very awesome too. And we're probably just going to wipe this guy very easily with very little difficulty. Okay. And yeah, that's effectively basically all the way combat works. In addition to that, you'll also get a variety of different debuffs, different things that can kind of happen. So for example, with March 7th, she can cause like freeze proc like kind of effect where the enemy will get stunned. 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝙿, which is this character up here, he's able to effectively like imprison an enemy, which can like essentially another form of a stun, but you also get like burns, you get electro damage, which does damage over time, and a variety of different things. And this is effectively the way the combat works. Alrighty, now another thing, what you're going to notice is down in the bottom right hand corner, I gotta hide myself again, give me a sec. Hopefully this enemy doesn't come to me. So you're going to see down here in the bottom right hand corner, we're not in combat, but we have these skills that we can use. So essentially the way these kind of work is these are skills that you can use outside of combat. There's outside of combat skills and skills you can use to initiate combat. So for example here, the E on this character does a little bit of a heal for the team. Now as you can see here, there's these 4 purple dots. Every time you use one of these E skills, it consumes one of those dots. You can refill these by simply doing this. Most stages and levels will have these kind of like scattered around that you can refill these up. Now that was a heal one. What we can also do is we can come off onto a different character. So March 7th has an attacking skill, but I'm not actually going to use her because she's the wrong element. So you see, now that I'm in this enemy's range, you can see that they have different weakness things. If I use one of his attacks, it starts a weakness. So you can essentially attack them before the battle even starts. And as you can see, it damages them before they even get into the fight, which I think is really good. Now, certain characters have additional effects can happen from this as well. For example, March 7th can cause enemies to have a chance of being frozen upon entering battle, which is honestly really kind of strong. Speaking of which, guys, if you want a really good character, definitely use March 7th. March 7th is really good. She's really strong. Especially for a 4-star character they give out for free. She's kind of actually really good. So in addition to all of that, you effectively have these like daily missions. You come in here, you complete the daily missions, you get essentially the rewards that are labeled here, which is really good. And these can be completed every single day, and as you can see, you get the premium currency from doing these. I believe it's, hold on, let me just math for a second, 20, 30, so you get 60 of this per day. And in comparison to what that is for a pool, for example, which if you go into the warp, one pool is 160 of that currency, which is pretty good if I'm not gonna lie. That's effectively how combat works. Now, in terms of like other types of content, you'll be going through different various story missions, and a whole bunch of different things. Now, I actually really enjoyed the combat in this game. I think it's genuinely good. And you'll have also daily missions you'll be completing, and so far, I don't know if it's just the beta, but we've been given like a fairly good amount of currency. I'm not talking about the temples we're getting from the beta every single couple of days, but just in general, the currency flow is very, very similar to like other games. If you've played Genshin before, the gameplay loop is basically exactly like Genshin. So basically you have your daily commissions here, you have your Spiral Abyss combat, which I just showed you, but in addition to that, you also have, if we go, sorry, wrong button, and we go to this thing, this one's a Spiral Abyss. These ones here are your resource grinds. We can teleport here and grind out stages like you could with domains. And these are also these ones here, which are also more resource grinds like domains. And then there's also a different grind for different various artifacts. So for example, they're here. These are called relics. You can essentially go around and farm these and get different sets to upgrade your character. Now, in terms of upgrading characters, it works essentially, yet again, same way as if you played Genshin before. You have your character level up here. You can come in here and ascend the character by getting resources, and you put in experience books to level up to get to the next stage. You then have these light cones. Think of light cones effectively like your weapons from Genshin. And essentially the way these work is you come in here, you can switch them out, and then you can enhance them exactly the same way as Genshin. There's different ascension levels, as you can see here, so I can ascend here, and then I can add materials in to level them up there as well. In addition to that, there's also duplicates, so this is essentially refinement. If you've played Genshin, that's what that system kind of is. Then you have traces. This is a little bit different. This is not your constellations. This is just like a skill tree thing you can kind of upgrade. Actually, think of this as like your talents. These are effectively your talents. Then you have relics, which is the screen I just showed you, and then you have 𝙀𝙓𝙋𝘼𝙉𝙿. These are your constellations, and they're all acquired through, obviously, the gacha. So you need to pay money or do summons to be able to effectively get these. And that's essentially how character upgrading works. So literally, gameplay loop is the same, process of upgrading characters is the same. The only real differences of this game are like the setting, the story, and like the gameplay, being the combat. But yeah, this game is effectively very, very similar to Genshin. So if you like Genshin, you're probably going to like this game, and have a pretty damn good time with it, because honestly, it's a pretty nice looking game. But anyways, guys, that's probably it for my first impressions. So far, I would say this game is really, really good, and definitely 100% worth your time, especially if you like Genshin or Honkai Impact. But yeah, anyways, guys, hopefully you all enjoyed today's video. I'll see you back for another video very, very soon. I'm going to be making a bunch more content on this game very soon. Anyways, guys, have a good one.